Good morning, everybody. I hope everybody is doing well. It's August 27th already. We are quickly approaching September and less than 2 months away from AEP. We've got a lot going on right now. Wanted to talk to you all a little bit. We talked last week about having the conversation with the client and understanding the client need and all of that sort of thing and building trust through that. But also, there's a massive difference between marketing a life insurance product or something along those lines, cars, cell phones, all of those things I've sold, right? Those don't have enrollment periods. Health insurance does. So we're going to talk about preparing for your success during the enrollment period of October. Typically, you want to do this over a long period of time. Obviously, it's August 27th, so we have a very short window. So I wanted to talk to you all about that today and show you all how to get into marketing yourselves, getting out in the field, growing that awareness of yourself, and growing your marketing presence. So let's go ahead and get started on this. We'll talk about this as we go along. The agenda today is, like I said, we're going to talk about the importance of the timing of the marketing. That timing is very different than life insurance. Life insurance you can buy at any point in time. We'll talk about strategies to growing your marketing presence. Some have expenses to them. Some can be hefty expenses. Some have zero expenses to them, but they require more time. They require more from you to get through those. So let's just kind of walk through those strategies. Let's walk through those steps and we'll see how everything goes. All right. In marketing, timing is everything. Doesn't matter whether you're selling life insurance or health insurance or whatever. Marketing life insurance requires you to hit the person when they're thinking about buying life insurance. Okay. So that's why even massive companies like McDonald's market every day. Okay. Because you want to stay in front of your audience and have a presence and all of these things. We'll go through this very quickly today, talk to it about how it applies to Medicare and how you build that towards your Medicare sales. Okay. The importance of growing your marketing presence now. As I kind of alluded to a little bit earlier, health insurance typically runs in cycles. There are enrollment periods, there are non-enrollment periods. Okay. There's a time to maximize your efforts, and then there's a time to kind of slow down and just sort of do the, hey, I'm in the background, I'm here if you need me type of marketing. Okay. So there's two different approaches here as you kind of go throughout the year. I say you want to start the marketing approach in January and build up to October. Obviously, right now, since we're talking about this on August 27th, we've got a very, very short window of time. So we want to kind of press through that and get through that as soon as we possibly can and maximize those efforts. And you can do that. And I'll talk to you a little bit about that as we go. Okay. Whether you have the big presence now or whether you're going to have a big presence down the road for October. This will be your first time. So let's understand the marketing landscape. My first job, well, my first kind of real job in the marketing space was a marketing person, and I did that for almost 10 years for the second largest carrier in the country. Okay. Back then, your marketing person that was turning 65 is now what? Almost 75, 85. They're what, 84 years old now. So at 84 years old, that's a person you market to differently than you market to someone who's turning 65 today. Okay. So these different trends have taken over the marketing space. There's different competition, and that competition will lead up, just like every agent that's listening to me today, right? This competition will lead up to a stronger competition approach down the road. So you need to make sure you're doing things now with the shifting consumer behaviors that will be more likely to bring you in more folks as we get into October. Okay. So, because everybody's going to start kind of peaking and trying to do more as we get into October. So, if you start building that awareness and that trust today and being front of mind and doing something with the community every day, whether it be social media or whatever, and I'll walk through those steps here in just a minute. But as you do those things on a daily basis, you build that front of mind awareness. Okay. I have this logo here. Sorry. I have this logo on the back of my truck. Okay. So my company logo is on the back of my truck every time I'm driving around town with my logo and my slogan and all of that sort of stuff. I'm growing awareness and I'm building trust because people see me around town. They see me pumping gas. They see me at the grocery store. They see me doing these things. Right. So as I grow that awareness, I am growing trust that, hey, this guy's here. If I have a question about my Medicare, I can go ask this guy. Okay. So once you, and as we talked about last week, this is about building a relationship and building that trust. You don't get trust just overnight. Trust is something that is earned over time. Okay. So you have to be out there and doing the little things to earn trust. Trust is not given, trust is rewarded. Okay. But so think about that and think about all of those small things that you're doing every day and think about how that compounds over time to build significant results. Okay. If I keep hitting the neighborhood with the same truck, the same marketing, I'm in the newsletter, the county newspaper, and things of that nature. Those early marketing efforts may be small. I may spend a couple $100 a month on those, right? But as we build towards AEP and we build towards a time when, all of a sudden we've got all of these people that need to have their Medicare questions, they recognize the logo. They're ready to talk to me because they trust that I'm around. So that consistent messaging can be across markets, whether it be on the back of a pickup truck, whether that be social media, whether that be direct mail or whatever. And those things amplify that effect. All right. So let's talk a little bit about marketing strategies. Now, way back 18 plus odd years ago, when I started, direct mail was king. I know that seems super insane nowadays, right? But it still holds about a 2% return rate. 18 years ago, it had like a 3 to 4% return rate. I could just put a company logo and $0 premium and send out with 1-800, call the company. Boom. All of a sudden, I'm getting phone calls. That's the way it used to be. But as we talked about, the market has adapted. The market has changed. So as that market changes and the market adapts, we have to adapt our marketing as well. We can't just sit on one thing. Okay. So we're going to talk about different marketing strategies. Now, obviously, there's direct mail, but then there's other types of content marketing, whether that be blogs from a website, videos that you can do on TikTok, Instagram. I probably wouldn't do TikTok. There may not be as many seniors there as, say, Facebook. Okay. But social media posts. My agency does a daily social media post. It could be about what type of foods keep you hydrated, right? But it's something that's just content that's day after day and just builds that trust. I'm touching base with folks. I have them sign up with their phone on my Facebook page after I make a sale with them, things of that nature. Okay. So make sure you're starting to do that. If you don't have that, make sure you're building it. Okay. Make sure you're growing that content now. If you already have a Facebook page, great. If you don't, build one. Okay. But build that content now and start bringing in folks and having them follow you and all of these sorts of things, because that builds more trust. Okay. Oh, this person talking about the things that I need. Now, once we get into that, right, you can build content calendars that will build you up to October. Okay. I use a service I greatly suggest it to most agents called Agent Methods. You can sign up for it. It does your social media marketing. It does your email marketing. It does newsletters for you. All of that sort of stuff happens automatically. Okay. If you have questions about it, let me know. I'll be happy to talk to you. And we'll be happy to go through that. I'll put in my name and information at the end of this So if you have questions about marketing yourself, I'm happy to share my personal expertise. That's what the degree is for. It's for marketing. Okay. So social media engagement. Now you want to grow your brand in social media. Okay. That's where that's the current public square. That's your public square of where people meet. Hundreds of years ago, they met in the public square, right? Then they went to newspapers and then television and all of these. Now, social media is where the majority of people engage with one another. Okay. So make sure you're building a brand presence there. Make sure you're actively responding to comments so that it pops up on your cell phone or whatever, or that you have some sort of AI chat bot or something to engage with people. Okay. Make sure you're sharing relative content. Like I said, I prefer my little distribution method through social media. Agent methods are great. Hey, boom, they reach out. I set it up. I do a quarterly setup of this is what I want to talk about. And those different types of social media engagements, whether they be email or whatever, build up the client to understanding that, hey, Medicare season's coming. You need to have this information ready. It can even be you need to have your drugs, your doctors, and oh, by the way, have the scope of appointment signed. Okay. So there's a lot of different ways you can do this. And I want you all to tailor it exactly to you. Okay. But you make sure you have that loyal following as you're going through your social media that will give you an already built up audience to pull referrals from, to pull clients from, to ask for sales from. You can follow different groups on social media, engage on social media. If your county or city has a community group where you buy and sell things, if they allow businesses in there, put your information on there. Okay. So make sure you've got great marketing campaigns built across different things. Okay. That can be email, that can be direct mail, like snail mail, text messaging. These will all nurture leads, help your customer relationships. I educate my people starting in January about what it is that they bought. Okay. So I can segment my people out. Oh, these people are on a med sup and these people are on an MA plan. Okay. So I keep them informed and engaged about what Medicare is and what they've got and so on and so forth. Okay. So there's lots of ways to do this without eating up a lot of your time. I sit down for maybe 20 minutes once a quarter and do this. Okay. So, but these are great ways to engage with people on a regular basis that you either know, share your social media, like boom, that's the public square nowadays. Okay. So understand that. Now, kind of the last piece of the I'm doing this virtually is SEO or search engine optimization and paid advertising. Okay. I prefer SEO. SEO is you are using different tools to optimize with a media company or something along those lines how your Google results pop up and you will rank higher. Okay. The reason that I want you all to focus on SEO and not pay per click, which is very easy to set up, is because with pay per click, you're not just competing against me if we're in the same zip code or the same area, but you're also competing with United Healthcare and Humana and all of these other great big huge companies that want to buy leads in Medicare if that's what you're paying for the clicks. So you're going to be 5, 6, 7, 8 pages deep because you're paying the money against United Healthcare and Humana. Okay. So make sure you've developed an SEO strategy that will give you so many more benefits. And that applies even to life insurance. If you're trying to buy annuity leads, you're fighting a theme. Okay. If you're buying final expense leads at pay per click, whatever's popping up on your Google tab, that's what you're fighting against. Okay. So understand that. Now make sure you like kind of optimize how these paid ads go. Okay. Now, right now, because we're at the end of August, y'all are kind of have to go all chips on the table And I've done that in the past. Okay. Now, to give you all an example, the year that I had to go all chips on the table for marketing, I spent $26,000 from the beginning of October. Well, it was actually the end of August because we did some ramp up, right? From the end of August through the end of November, there wasn't any need for me to do any more marketing for December 1st through the 7th. I was already going to be busy, and so was my team. But we did $26,000 worth of advertising. We got 250,000 impressions and over 2,500 leads. Okay. Now that worked out to roughly about $50 a lead. Ding. I'll take that. Actually, no. It was even better than that. My math is horrible. But anyway, what you've got there is an opportunity to grow for you and your downline and your team and all of those other things. And I went all chips on the table for that 1 year, just in that tiny little space of time to generate that amount of leads. Okay. And I can walk you all through it. If you have questions, please feel free to call and ask. However, the next year I spent less money, but because I did it over January through October, I didn't need to really advertise in November. I didn't need to advertise in December, but I got more leads over that time because we'd built all the trust. We had built all of the recognition, the brand awareness. I was front of mind. All of those things were happening to me because I had kept going back to this well over and over and over again. So just stick to the plan. Okay. Now there are ways to do this without spending a bunch of money. Okay. You can do community events. You can do health fairs, partnerships with churches, community senior centers. I would suggest looking up findhelp.org. Findhelp.org is like a Google for senior services. You type in the zip code or an Angie's List, maybe, if you've used that for home improvement projects. But findhelp.org, you type in the zip code and it'll say, oh, here's 14,000 different industries and businesses that service that zip code. And it breaks it down to different groups. So it could be churches, it could be senior centers, it could be utility payment, so nonprofit groups that or local clubs and different things that do support for different things in the senior market. Okay. Findhelp.org is a treasure trove of opportunity if you're looking to do grassroots marketing. That's where I would start. Okay. But above and beyond that, you can do workshops. You can partner with the broker managers in your area. Hey, I want to go do workshops. Can you help buy the macaroni so we can do macaroni art at this low-income housing facility? Or do you have somebody that can sponsor the bingo and bring the bingo numbers and blah, blah, blah? Most of the time, the carriers, if you go to them with a marketing strategy, they're going to happily help support you. So please come up with, this is what I want to do, and then go to your local territory manager and say, how do we get this done? Okay. Now, as far as local media, right? If you want to kind of do the old version of media, newsletters, church newsletters, things of that nature, church bulletins, school bulletins, those types of things. Hey, you can put your ad in the local football. Guess what? Grandma and grandpa go to the high school football games. Okay. So you can put your ads there for pennies on the dollar versus, hey, I bought an ad in the big city newspaper. Well, congratulations. That has 1 day of shelf life. That local newspaper in the big city. If it's the Chicago Tribune, they better be looking at your ad the day that you spent all that money to be in the Chicago Tribune. Now, if it's a tiny little local town newspaper, right, that might have a shelf life of a week. Yeah, I might want to advertise in that. And it might be dirt cheap. And guess what? If I'm doing something educational and I'm providing a service to the community, they may put it in the community calendar for free. So now I'm advertising from the local library. I'll be doing an educational event because I've partnered with the library. And I'll educate you all on how Medicare works. And it'll be on September the 27th. And that's in the local newspaper, and it didn't cost me a dime. You can do magazines, community magazines, different things of that nature. Um, I know here in Virginia, there's one that does kind of the bigger communities that are um, more med sup, higher income type communities. They do a magazine that highlights somebody in that community every week. Well, it just so happens I have an agent that lives in that community. So guess what? We're going to highlight the agent in that community, and the agent's bought into the advertising for that community and two more, where he's going to get 4 different articles throughout the year about a different subject, whether that be life insurance, Medicare, med sups, whatever. Okay. Referral partners. We've all talked about BNIs and networking groups. Some have success with that, some do not. Local support groups. So once again, at that findhelp.org, if you go through those local support groups and say, hey, I'm a Medicare expert, I can unwind the complexities of this problem, you're going to find referral partners. Local clubs, VFWs. If you're a veteran, go into your VFW. This is what I do. How can I set up a meeting to talk to your group? Harley Davidson groups. I'm having a conversation. The president of the Harley Davidson group knows me and has asked me to come speak to his group. There'll be at least 50 people in that room that are over 65 and have questions about Medicare. So is that a referral partner or a program that I want to work with? Absolutely. Think about where people are going. Oh, seniors like bingo. People in my area like to go play golf or whatever it is. That's where you need to market. You need to go where the seniors are. Community organizations and nonprofits, partnering with Habitat for Humanity, the Salvation Army, different church groups, groups that feed the homeless, feed the hungry, things of that nature, right? All of those people are low income. They all have year-round SEPs in some cases, depending on what they are. And then you can just straight up purchase a lead. The most easiest and compliant way to do that is to go into Medicare Center once you've got your contracts and buy a lead just like you do in Lead Center if you're currently buying leads in Lead Center under FFL Life. So there's easy ways and hard ways. There's time-consuming ways and expensive ways. You can market yourself in this business in a lot of different ways. So feel free to go out and reach out and do. And if you don't already have an existing book of business that you can't talk to, look at these as options because you have a lot of options out there. Now you've got to track your success. Now, once again, this is very hard to do in a short timeline like we have right now. But if you do this now and all chips on the table for this AEP, and then like me, spread it out over the next year, you can track your success, but efforts that you make now lead to greater visibility. Oh, it cost me $300 to put this logo on the back of my truck. Whack. Okay. Logo's on the back of the truck. I start driving around. I'm building that credibility that I'm this person. I start running the local newspaper ads that say, hey, you remember this truck? If you have questions about Medicare, call me. So now I've got a print ad. I've got a physical billboard driving around town, right? Then we add in the social media marketing. Then we add in the email marketing to my current clients. We build the referrals, all of these other things, one layer on top of another layer on top of another layer. And then we track what is working, what is not. If I'm not getting results from my Google ads, we drop them. If I'm spending way too much money on Facebook ads and I'm not getting any results, we tweak or we drop, but we have to track that success. Okay. Now we don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Sometimes we tweak before we throw out, but you've got to establish that presence now that will make it so much more easy to convert leads later. There's a reason why I've been bombarded with Medicare ads today on my television, because they're building brand awareness. They know that the majority of those dollars spent today do not actually lead to sales, but they're building that brand awareness because in about 30 more days, they can lead to sales. And it's easier to convert a customer now or convert a customer during the peak time if you already have a relationship, if you've already got the awareness, if you're already front of mind. So just like with me, I just drive around town. Sometimes I go to the grocery store. Oh, hey, you're the Medicare dude. Yeah, that's me. I just want to go get some milk. Can can you help my Yep, sure, here's my card. As soon as they ask, all I've got to do is get them to ask me what it is that I do. Now they have opened the door and I am compliantly able to speak to them about anything I want to speak to them. So make sure you're doing those types of things. Build the awareness. If you've got a logoed shirt, I've got agents that ask me about Medicare plans. They wear these t-shirts all the time. I've got one of them that's at a carrier kickoff right now. And she posted on her Facebook, her standing next to the carrier sign about 2025 plan kickoff, blah, 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 blah. And guess what? She's promoting that information to her clients with her ask me about Medicare plans. Hey guys, I'm getting ready for 2025. Ask me, or if you have questions, or have your friends ask me. Blah. So she's building that awareness. Does everybody see how easy that is? It's not hard. You just got to do. Now adjust your strategy. Like I said, we're not trying to throw the baby out with the bathwater. Okay. Monitor and adjust. Make sure you are always tracking your marketing efforts. Okay. Use analytic tools. If you go through purchase an SEO program and all of these other things, they will give you all of this information with conversion rates. And I know this stuff. Okay. I'm not paying pay-per-click and then not knowing where my money's going. We're not doing that. We've got to have a smart approach to this. So we got to track what works and what doesn't. But then make sure you're flexible about it. Hey, this is what works, and stick to it. Okay. Like we talked about at the beginning, when I was in marketing, direct mail was king. We got about 4% response rate. It's still between 2 and 3, but that number has dropped. Now, in direct mail and life insurance and all these other things, the response rate's a little more like 1.5%. But I got to keep an eye on what's working and what's not. If I'm spending too much money on this, it's got to go. So make sure you're tracking what's working and what's not. But that will make sure that you're building towards a very, very good October. I had somebody call me from Reminder Media the other day. A very good friend of mine, worked with her for years. We chatted for a few minutes. She was like, hey, can I help you buy more leads this AEP? One of my agents is already booked from October the 1st until the week of Thanksgiving. Booked solid because she's been doing all of these little things all year long. Once she found out, oh, these plans are going to change dramatically, she started reaching out, getting scope of appointments. If my person's on a med sup and a PDP, all of these things that I've talked to you all about, she's doing. So this is a real life thing. So she's already booked through October, most of November. She doesn't need to buy leads because she's going to have referrals come off of those things and all of these other things. Some of that is retention business. Some of that is new business. So as far as tracking her success, that's easy to track. Keep doing what you're doing. It's working. You don't have to go buy more leads. These are just falling like manna from heaven on you. Okay? So make sure you are tracking that all the way across the board. Doesn't matter what you're selling. Okay? Whether it's, hey, 60% of my sales are MA plans. Great, wonderful. But we got to maximize those opportunities based off of what it is we're trying to sell. October being an enrollment period, being a health product, you have to maximize at that point. You've got to peak. Talk about going into the playoffs. Sports teams, hey, we want to be peaking when we go into the playoffs. Perfect. October's is the playoffs. We prefer to start agents earlier in the year because we want you all to take the grounders of basic training over and over and over again in February and March. And then by the time we get into, we're rolling out October and the World Series, you all already taken so many grounders, it's second nature. So make sure that you understand your local market, the unique opportunities that are to your local market. Is there a county fair? Is there hay rides? Are there things that are happening, health fairs, because it's Medicare season? Or is it pumpkin picking because it's October? What is happening in your local market that you need to start looking at now as opportunities for you come October? Because being prepared will help you not only just capitalize on, I've grown this market presence and everybody knows who I am, so converting leads is easier, but it also builds you to being more effective in terms of, oh, yes, I can flex, I can do this. I understand how findhelp.org works, not only for me as a marketing person, but for me to turn around and after I have sold my client, use that to find not just more marketing opportunities, but opportunities to help my client, whether it be a nonprofit that helps them pay their utility bills because the MA plan does not. Make sure you understand how those things work together and make sure you're building towards a full pipeline. Just like my agent that's full all the way through November, you want a full pipeline as we get into October, whether it be events to get your name out there or appointments if you already have a book of business. One of those two things needs to be building as we get into October. Now remember, Walt Disney said the goal of marketing is to create a customer who is so loyal they will never consider buying from anybody else. You know that one of the great companies that has a massive following is Disney. I mentioned one just a few slides ago. I'm going to a Harley Davidson group. Massive following, brand. This is what we do, right? You want that in the marketing of health insurance space or even life insurance space. That's what your aim is that everybody wants to buy from you and no one else. A Harley Davidson person will never buy a Yamaha. It will never happen. So that's what you're going for, is that kind of loyalty. And that's why you do all of these types of marketing. Brand awareness may not buy you sales, it buys you loyalty. And loyalty buys you referrals. So keep that in mind while you're building out this plan to market yourself. Because not just the marketing that I do in January builds to October, but the things that I do in January of 2024 will build to January sales of 2025 and 2026 and so on and so forth. So make sure especially now, if you're somebody that's behind, make sure you're taking the action now and building that October success now. So get out there, talk to the pharmacist, talk to the doctor's office, talk to the pastors, talk to the spheres of influence in your community where the seniors go, where the seniors gather. Make sure you're starting to do the social media marketing. Make sure you're doing the direct mail marketing. Make sure you're doing all of those other things as we build into October. Are there any questions? Check the chat here. If you all have questions about marketing or anything along those lines, like I said, that's what the degree came from. That's what it's for, is for marketing. I'm happy to help you all at any point in time with this, whether it be I'm trying to get my word out there in the marketing space for Medicare or even life insurance. I'm happy to help and I'm happy to chat with you. Please feel free to make sure you're building that marketing pipeline into October. You've got to be able to peak at the right time, just like somebody in sports wants to peak when they're getting into the playoffs. You need to be able to peak and be the most present that you can be, not just through now, through September, but having that presence known that, oh, that's the Medicare person. That's the person I need to talk to in October and November, and build that pipeline, not just of an appointments, but people that know you, not just in person, but know you and know what you do for a living. If there are no more questions, I hope you all have a great day. I'll talk to you all soon.